Okay, so I came here to downtown Ottawa to do some street photography, but it is so damn cold that doing so is like a survival game show challenge. But I thought instead of doing a video solely on point of view street photography like I was going to, that I would instead complain. Not really complaining. I've been thinking a lot lately about things that I wish that I knew sooner into photography. Might as well make a video about it instead of freezing in these apocalyptic frozen conditions. Thing number one, the subject is anything and everything. I used to think that it had to be a person, something truly awe-inspiring like a erupting volcano or a gorgeous woman or a crazy waterfall or something. But the subject is really anything at all. It could just be a random assortment of colors. It could be a doorknob. It can be whatever you want it to be so long as you find a way to emphasize it. That's where the photography lies, is in the emphasis of that subject, whatever it may be. In the beginning, I used to only make posts when I thought the subject was killer, just insane. But now I will literally post a garbage can if it's comprised of colors and lighting that appeals to me, or a composition that appeals to me. So yes, I am here telling you that I literally make garbage content, and I've never been happier. Thing number two, you will never stop taking bad photos. I used to think that when you achieved a certain level of skill, that your bad photos would be few and far between. But what really happens is that the amount of photos that you're okay with go up a little. But you still take probably as much bad photos as you did in the beginning. If there's one thing that gives me the most respect to early film and current film photographers, it's this right here. It's knowing this right here. How expensive that must have been for an early photographer to get good at their craft. I mean, respect as far as that's concerned. If you're new to photography, your first 1,000 photos are going to be garbage. And here's the real kicker. Over time, the better that you get, you will be given eyes, new eyes in which to see more photos that you once thought were good that are actually kind of bad. It's that constant commitment to it. The more reps you make, the more takers you're gonna get out of your shooting. And the more darts you throw at the dartboard, the better of a chance you have of hitting a bullseye. You walk into it with clearer vision, a better game plan, pattern recognition to know how to tackle diverse conditions. But truth is, you will never stop taking bad photos. The third thing I wish I knew sooner is that nobody cares about your gear, and that's a good thing. We care about gear here on YouTube because we're gear nerds, let's face it. But people, the general public, they do not. In the beginning of my photography journey, I used to think that there'd be this imaginary group of people that would care that I owned a version 2 of a G Master lens. But you move far along in this and you learn that those group of people don't exist. Sure, maybe when you're out shooting, you might run into that other gear nerd who comments on what you're using. But this never impacts you as a photographer the way you think it would. Not one time in all of my years shooting have I ever shown up to a gig, set out to do a street photography shoot, and not one time has anyone ever cared or remarked or used the gear that I'm using as a way to validate or invalidate me. It doesn't exist. And if you're trying to suss out what gear you need to invest in, Don't commit to the same ego-driven bullshit that I did. Make your gear purchasing decisions based off something with better foundation. The only person that cares about your gear is the version of you that hasn't developed your eye yet. I was recently told not to go to the Rideau Canal here in Ottawa, Canada, because I guess in the past few weeks there was a couple stabbings there. So naturally, upon arriving to Ottawa, the first thing I do is go to the Rideau Canal Mall just to see what all the fuss is about. And I took some photos inside the mall. I came here just last year, and I got one of my favorite shots of the year right here, looking out that way at an older lady walking on the Rideau Canal. So, good times. This one's more advice, but don't let your friends make your work worthless. I hate to speak ill of friends in a general scope, but I have to for a second. You will do free work to cut your teeth and grow your skills, but if you aren't careful, you'll have little gauge to determine where and when to draw the line between free work and paid work. And I'm here to tell you, no matter how good your friends are, or your acquaintances for that matter, they won't help draw the line for you either. They will push the limits to see what they can get out of you. And if you took every free or bro deal job out there as a serious shooter, you would have no time for yourself. This is maybe something that's okay in your 20s, maybe even okay in your young 30s, but let me tell you, as time goes on and you are maintaining a full-time job and have other responsibilities, these freebies, they don't hit the way they used to. And to a certain degree, I get it. We do expect inner circle benefits from our friends. That's what friends are for. And a little bonus tip, if you're confused about when to start charging, here's a good indicator that you should. If your friends are asking you for your services, that's when you know you can charge. Think about it. If you were a baker, and let's say that you think your pies taste good, but they actually taste like shit. Not even your friends are going to want shit flavored pie, are they? They're going to want decent or good or great flavored pie. So if your friends are asking you for some pie, maybe you should start charging for pie. Just my opinion. Free work in the beginning was beneficial for my growth, but I would have been more honest. I would have had more honest conversations with my friends and my acquaintances and coworkers and whoever about charging sooner. A significant portion of your growth happens when there's no camera in hand at all. Develop a social media account, even if you don't use it. Develop an Instagram and only follow photographers that you like. That way, everything on your feed leaves you to be surrounded with work that you're inspired by. Study composition, whether it be in movies. A lot of movies can inspire you, whether it's tone, color grading in your photos, even composition. Paying attention to light in daily life. If you're walking home from work, because you're doing photography, you will start to see the world through the photographer's eye, I suppose. A lot of times when I don't have my camera on me, because of that eye I've developed, I will see scenes that when I do have my camera on me, I'm quicker to react on, if that makes any sense. Most of your work is when the camera's in hand, but I think a significant portion of your growth happens when there's no camera in hand at all. Anyways, Hopefully you took something from this video today, at least some food for thought if nothing else. There is a sponsor in today's video, and that is Melody Music. I use Melody Music for all the music in my YouTube videos. With ease, I can find a song to match any mood, any tone that I'm looking for. Go to the website at melod.ie today, browse the catalog, see what they have. The website is super easy to use. In the description below, you'll find a pretty generous discount off your Melody Music subscription. It's a percentage that rhymes with the number 60. Please check out the catalog today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.